Hi there, neighbors. It is Sunday again and time for another Stampin' Sunday video. I'm Alicia Dolan, a Stampin' Up! Independent demonstrator. Thank you for joining me tonight in my stamping corner. Or if it's not night when you're watching this, whenever you get the chance to watch it. Tonight we're going to work on a card and we are going to use the A Good Man stamp set. Father's Day is coming up pretty soon, and I thought it might be helpful to have some cards that would work for Father's Day. So let me turn the camera around and we will get started. It might take me an extra minute tonight to get it set up because I'm down in my new corner in the basement and trying to work out how to set everything up has been kind of challenging for me. So hold on just a minute and we'll get started right away. All right, let's see. I'm going to turn the camera around and you'll see a little bit of my basement as we get started here and figure out how this is gonna work out. Let's see. I think if I turn the camera a little farther this way, you'll be able to see a little better. Okay, so hopefully everyone can see everything, and I am going to turn my computer on so that if you have comments I can watch them, and then we will get started and make what I think is going to be a quick card tonight. I hope you can still hear me. Okay, so tonight we are going to be working with the A Good Man stamp set. And I thought this would be good with Father's Day coming up, and I know that my own dad just had a birthday today, so if I were to make him a card today, I would be late, of course. Which tends to be pretty common for me, but he doesn't usually seem to mind. So we're going to start out with a base layer of crumb cake cardstock that is 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. Actually, I wrote that down wrong in my notes. Let me change that. Because when I post the measurements later, I will post them wrong if I don't have the right thing written down. So here's our base layer. It's crumb cake 8.5 by 5.5, scored at 4 1/4. And then we're going to do another layer of crumb cake, which is 5 1/4 by 4. And on this layer, we are going to stamp this little heart a couple times. So here is the little heart. And tonight we're working with red rubber stamps, which have foam on the back already. So we don't need to use our Stampin' Pierce mat tonight. Let's see. So I opened up my crumb cake ink. And I need to grab my chamois for later, because I'll be needing that, I'm sure. And then to put my heart on, I have lots of options for acrylic blocks because it's just a small. So I'm going to put on block B, just like this. And our next layer is going to go like this, and I'm going to stamp a couple hearts so that they look like they're behind this in the crumb cake. So I'll tap it in my ink and stamp a couple over here on the edges. Maybe right close together. And then one off on this side. Or maybe two. Maybe one down here. And then I'll just measure that. Oh, I think that'll look good. So I'm going to attach this layer on. Using my liquid glue. If you guys have watched many of my videos, you know that the liquid glue is really my favorite glue. I use it all the time. I do also use a tape runner sometimes, and I love Stampin' Dimensionals, of course. But the liquid glue is just my favorite for all of my basic adhesing. I don't know. It's probably not a word, but okay, so we're gonna put that in the middle. And then on this is a piece of white that measures 4.5 by 3. So 4.5 long by 3 wide, and we are going to stamp this stamp right here. And we can put that one on block I. Should fit just fine. And to stamp that, I'm going to use the Memento ink, which I didn't bring over here. So I have Tuxedo Black Memento ink. And I'm going to ink up my stamp. When you're inking up your stamps, you almost want to tap a lot of times, but not, you don't want to press hard in your ink, because that will give you a bit of a distorted image. Okay, and that looks good. It looks like it's covered pretty well. So we're going to stamp that slightly on the left side of our piece of white. Oh, and I think I wiggled it a little bit, but maybe it's okay. I think it'll be alright. Okay, and then I'm going to clean that one off real quick. If you use Memento ink on photopolymer stamps, sometimes it will stain them a little bit. It makes them have kind of a pinkish tint, and I'm not sure why it does that. I just know that it does. So I'm going to put that back away. And Next, on this little piece of white that is, let's see, 1 1/4 by 1 3/4, we're gonna stamp I Grew Up Loved, and I'm gonna stamp that in Mossy Meadow. So here's my Mossy Meadow ink. And I'm just going to tap gently until my stamp is covered. Now the loved in this, on this stamp, is a little, I don't know what you would call it, maybe antiqued or faded, so it's not going to be a sharp image, it's just going to be, it won't be as solid, I guess. And we're going to stamp that right in the center. And it's going to look like that. Okay, and now I'm going to use, tonight I'm going to use some of the Stampin' Blends to color around this image. I saw this card, and I'll show you. I think I can show you. I pretty much copied it, cased it, that's what they call it, copy and share. So right from the catalog here, where there's 3 different versions. So you could do this one, which is just 1 layer, or this one has the hearts, or this one has an embossed layer, and they cut out some of the stamps. So when you're looking to make a card, you can copy anything in the catalog to make your card out of. You don't have to, you can come up with your own ideas, and I do that a lot of the time. I'll just sit with the stamp set and the colors that I want to use and make my own design. But sometimes, especially if I need a card quick, I'll just copy a design that's already in the magazine. So down by their feet, I'm gonna color with some, this is the Mossy Meadow Stampin' Blends. And I'm just gonna color in so it kind of looks like grass. Now the Stampin' Blends come in packs of 2, so they come with 2 colors per pack, kind of a lighter color and then a darker color. So there is that. And then for the little girl's shirt, I think I'm going to use this freesia, fresh freesia Stampin' Blend. And let's see, I'm going to try to color just where her shirt is. Sometimes I have a hard time telling where exactly to color, but you just kind of have to guess and hope for the best sometimes. All right, let's see. And then I should have a couple of crumb cake. All right, so this is the light crumb cake, and I'm going to use that for her pants. Now you can layer with these markers too, so if you want to get a little bit darker color but not too dark, or whatever you need to do. Okay, so there's the light crumb cake. And then I'm going to use the dark crumb cake for the man's pants. And I always try to take as long strokes as I can and color as quickly as I can, because I feel like that gets you a better blend of the colors. I'm kind of picky about my colors. I don't like there to be really obvious lines when I'm coloring, unless they're supposed to be there, if they're like a shaded area, or if they show wrinkles. So there are the man's pants. And then I think maybe we'll color her hair a bit with that darker crumb cake, because she could have brown hair. And then maybe we'll put a little of the brown in the dance hair. I don't know if this is her dad or not. I just kind of made that story up in my head. So he might not be her dad. And then I have bronze. Is it bronze? Yes. Stampin' Blend marker. I'm just going to use a little bit of that in his hair so that there's a smidge different shade. And when I do that, I can go back over it with the crumb cake and it'll look a little bit different. It kind of blends it in a little better. So there's his hair, and then how about if we make his shirt green as well? I always try when I'm using the Stampin' Blends not to use too many colors, because first of all, I don't have a large selection of those colors, but I know that not everyone can get all the colors either. And if you don't have Stampin' Blends, you can use your Stampin' Right markers, or you can use Stampin' Up sells watercolor pencils, and I have a set of those. I've had them for a long time, and I used to always color with those because watercolor pencils are easy to blend with, and it's easy to shade and get the right color. But if you use water with them, they will soak through the basic white paper. So just something to be aware of if you're going to use the watercolor painters with the watercolor. And then I have an, let's see, that's petal pink. Light petal pink. Oh, yep. And then here's an ivory that I can use for the last little bit. Now the bronze and the ivory come in a pack together. The light and the dark crumb cake. The mossy meadow comes in 2 shades, as well as the fresh freesia. So to finish this card, you'd need, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4 sets of the Stampin' Blends markers, or whatever coloring tool of your choice. Now, I know in the catalog they did a little like sky background around them, but I'm not going to do that tonight. I do, let's see, I'm not perfectly happy with the shape of this small one, so I didn't stamp right in the middle though, that's the reason why. So I think I'm going to trim off a little bit of the top just so it looks more to me like it's even. It might be too much. Let's see. Nope, I think that's okay. And then I want to add an extra layer to this. So I'm going to grab my Mossy Meadow pieces of paper. And I keep inside my packs of cardstock, I just stick all my little extra bits in the front. And then when there get to be too many, then I just go through and I take out all the small ones and I get rid of them. And I know that sounds a little frivolous, like, hey, you shouldn't waste all those pieces, but for me, the clutter of having them sometimes overwhelms me, and then I get stuck trying to figure out what to do with all those little leftover pieces. And to be honest, it's a burden that I don't want to put on myself. So sometimes I do go through all my scraps and I will get rid of whatever I don't need. So our piece of Mossy Meadow, we're going to cut it 2 inches by 1 1/4. So I'm going to go to the 2 inches first. And then 1 1/4. I'm learning to adjust here to my, I don't know if you guys can tell, but my tripod is set up to hold my phone so that I can tape what I'm doing, but it's right at my right elbow, and so I keep having to adjust a little bit so that I'm not bumping into it all the time. Okay, so we're gonna glue this image that we stamped on top of here. And I am, again, going to use my liquid glue. And I always do a little line around and then a squiggle in the middle. I just find that works for me. So do whatever works for you. And I'm going to glue that right in the center. And then on the back of here, you can see a little bit how the blender pens leaked through just a bit onto the back of it. And I'm going to use some Stampin' Dimensionals around. So there are those. And their backs just peel off. Oh, I already peeled that one off and I'd forgotten about it. So then I'm going to put this right here, off to the left a little bit. And on this one, I'm going to put a Stampin' Dimensional on this side. And then if I can find them, which I can't right now. I was going to put a glue dot on the other side, but I don't know. Oh, here they are right here. And you can get mini glue dots or mini glue dots. Mini glue dots in a roll like this, and then I'm just going to pick one up with the other side of my saying back of the other side, and then I'll peel off the back of that Stampin' Dimensional, and I'm going to put that right here. Maybe I should have stamped him a little bit farther to the left, but for now it will do. And then let me see if I have something sparkly to add. Now, if you wanted to, you could put some twine around here, or a ribbon, or any number of extra little decorations. I have some in color jewels, and these are, let's see, I know those are not quite the right color. Let me see. You know what? I'm gonna go back to some of my favorite ones, and I'm gonna add these champagne rhinestone jewels because they kind of match the crumb cake. They have a little bit of a, I don't know, maybe chameleon quality where they kind of, their color kind of adjusts to match what you're doing sometimes. They're great with peachy colors, or I'm going to use this size here. And I poke them with the one side of my take your pick tool just to get them moving a little bit. And then I can use the sticky side to pick them up easier, hopefully. So I'll put them right up here. So maybe 1, 2, and there we have a cute card for tonight. And I will probably add a layer of just basic white to the inside. This one it's not a dark color, but I like to have that layer of white on there just to, because I like to write on a white surface, really, not for any other reason. But sometimes I do stamp on the inside. Actually, let's do a little bit of stamping first. So I'm gonna take my crumb cake ink and I'm gonna use that little heart stamp again. And this time I'm gonna stamp off because I want my image to be kind of light. So I'm gonna stamp a little heart this way. Oops, I didn't get that one very even. And then a little heart this way. And I'm gonna clean my stamp off real quick. And then I'm going to take my Mossy Meadow and I'll stamp off again. And then I'm going to stamp that one right here. Just to give the inside of my card a little something extra. Because I like there to be a little something extra. I'm so glad that you could join me tonight for this Stampin' Sunday video. I hope that if you get a chance, you make some cards this weekend, or maybe even during the week, that this is helpful. Now you can always take the basic layout of any card and swap it out with a different stamp set or different colors of paper or whatever you If you needed a birthday card, you could do a birthday card. You could step this up a little bit. You could emboss this layer. You could add a frame around this one. There are a lot of different things you can do to make your card just a little bit different than whatever you see in the catalog or whatever someone else posts online, cards that I post or cards that anyone posts. So I hope you have a wonderful Sunday, and I'm glad you could join me tonight. I will be back again next week with another Stampin' Sunday video. Have a great week.